Sal. So we're just doing that bit of video for you, Ruby. Show you a few things today before she goes tomorrow. She's just had a bath and is feeling pretty good. So what I normally start off with is just a little bit of desensitizing. I just want to know what my horse is thinking, how reactive she is to everything. So I'm just going to start off with a really relaxed body language and just be throwing this rope over her nice and gently. And what I don't want her to do is move. So if she moves, I'll just keep throwing the rope over until she stops. So just nice and gently, no energy. You know, I don't want her to do anything. I just do it both sides. And just make sure she's relaxed and she's thinking about everything and she's not overreacting to anything. And I'll swing the rope around. And because my energy's not up, I haven't asked her to do anything, she shouldn't move. So just, you know, haven't asked her to do anything at all with my body language, I'm still relaxed. So that's all pretty good. So I'll just show you how I back her up. Now everything's in stages with your pressure. So I always, you know, go sort of 4 stages. I start off with an ask, and then go to a suggest, and then I go to a tell, and then I go to a make. So I'm going to step back here a little bit. Now to ask her to back up, I usually start by wiggling my finger and doing a click. Now if she doesn't respond, I'm going to go to wiggling the rope. Right? And if she still didn't respond, I'd go to wiggling the rope harder. So go stage, and I'm just going to get a little bit more forceful there because she's not really listening, she's a little bit asleep. And then we'll go back to our stage again. And I shouldn't have to wiggle very much. And as soon as she moves a foot, you know, stop with the pressure obviously, so release. I'm just going to make her back with a little bit more energy because she's been a little bit lazy. There we go. So that's our backing, that's one of our backings. The other backs that we can do is on the chest here. I start with a light contact and I ask her to move, and she should just move off that hand. Nice and softly without very much pushing at all. And if she was to continue not moving, I'd just hold my fingers in there and keep pushing on her until she moved off, and maybe even add a little bit of voice cue just to encourage her to move around. So the other thing, I'm not sure if I showed you that day, is she's actually been taught to put her head down as well. So to put her head down, we just slip her hand up here, just put a little bit of pressure behind her ears, and she should drop her head down for you, and I'll just give her a little rub. So again, this is obviously particularly useful when you're trying to take the bridle on or off. You don't want these horses with giraffes for heads. For those of us who are a little vertically challenged, it's nice to have a horse that's got good manners and puts its head down. So she knows how to put her head down, and she normally leave her head down, especially if there's food involved. If I want to bring her head back up, I just put my hand under her jaw and just put some pressure on there, and once again, you know, when she comes off that pressure, release. So that's a couple of things there. I'm just going to turn her side on a little bit so you can see what I'm doing next. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get her to move around off the front, off her hind end. So I want her to move her front end around. So where I push for here is I start with one hand down here behind the girth, because that's going to move her shoulder. I'm going to have one hand up here on her neck to move her head, and she should follow nose. So I start with a bit of gentle pressure there, and then follow through with gentle pressure back behind her girth. And I'm not going to release until she steps in front like she's just done those 2 times there. So when she actually steps with this leg across in front of that leg, that's the right move. If she steps with this leg behind that leg, that's the wrong move. Sorry, she thought I was going to pick her foot up. So I'll just do that again. So, and just gentle pressure, and just be a little bit more pushy if she doesn't respond. So getting off your fingers lightly, just push with your hands a little bit until she does respond. And then lighten your pressure off again. So don't keep pushing, just, you know, keep moving with her, keep lightly touching her to keep her moving off, and then just add a little bit more pressure if she doesn't move, and then take the pressure away when she does. And you should just be able to walk around here like this without pretty much touching her at all once she understands what you want her to do. Now I'm going to move the hind quarter around. So the hind quarter is very much the same, so it's just, we're going to move this section of the horse, and I want her hind quarter to go around her chest and front area. So I'm just going to start with putting some pressure down here. You have this line for their belly that runs down along here. That's a really good place to put your hand, because normally that's about where you're going to put your leg back. So I'll start off with a little bit of pressure there. I don't know if you can see that. Hello, Ruby. It's always good to have their attention too, and it doesn't hurt to have their head tipped towards you. Just a bit of a safety thing. You know, she's not going to cow kick at me, but some of these young horses, or these horses that haven't had it done before, might be inclined to have a bit of a kick at you, and it's always good to have their nose tipped towards you. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure there, and if she doesn't respond, I'll increase it until she moves, and then take it away. So it is just a touch that she should move off, and I want her inside leg to cross over the top of her outside leg, so it has to cross over this one in front of that one. So once again, I'll just put my fingers there lightly. She's not moving, so I'm going to poke her. There. And you can add a click if you want to as well. Generally that encourages her to move her feet a little bit quicker. Right, so there's 2 good turns there. The other thing you can do, if you don't want to actually put your hands on her, as she's trained to do, is if I step back here and I look at her bottom and I point my finger and I wiggle my finger at that bottom, that means you've got to move your bottom. And it's the same up here. If I step up here and I wiggle my finger at her, up here in her nose, she knows that hand's off and I want you to move around. Right? So she understands that really, really, really well. So you can do pressure on, or you can bring yourself back and do some pressure off stuff. Now, with lifting this mare's feet, she's been trained once again to respond to pressure. So if you look at her chestnut there, that's what she's trained to respond to. So if I squeeze that chestnut, she will pick her foot up for you like that, right? But if you pick your foot, if you come down here, she's probably going to stand there and not give her foot to you. So don't get into a tug of match with her. Just squeeze that chestnut, and she'll pick her foot up for you, and she'll hold it up. Okay? So that's a really important thing to know too. And with the hind leg, I'll just turn it around a little bit so you can see. Now the hind legs are, she doesn't sort of kick out or anything, but the thing that she does, when I showed you with the hammer and that, is she leans on you, and she leans quite heavily, and tends to, you know, slam her foot down. So, you know, just be a little bit mindful of that. She doesn't tend to do it if she doesn't think she's getting shod. So I just come to here and I just squeeze the back of her foot until she takes the pressure off that leg. And again, right? And when she takes the pressure off it, then I'll pick it up. Pick it up. And as you can see, she gets quite heavy on that leg. So, yeah, it's not something, she doesn't really do anything particularly wrong as such in kicking wise, but she just puts all of her weight on that leg, and it's not very comfortable for the farrier or your back. So that's the back foot. And now she put it down a little bit harder than what I wanted her to then, so I'm just going to make her pick it up again. And just make her take that pressure off. So just squeezing the top of that hock, just squeeze it until she takes the pressure off that foot. And listens to you. Right, so I just want her to take it off, and she should pick it up nice and gently, and then she's going to put it down under my terms. So, in my opinion, it's very important to not get one-sided with your horse. I think, you know, that people get a little bit inclined to do everything from a particular side, particularly the near side, obviously, because we're all trained to do things from the near side. So I'd be, you know, just being conscious about being nice and even on both sides. So if you do something on one side, do it on the other, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go through and do the same on this side, get her to move around. Now if she's going to step behind like that, I'm just going to keep going until she does it correctly. So there we go. That was a very half-hearted attempt, but she did take one step there that was right. And again, there we go, that was better. And just try and quit her when she does the right thing. So if she does the right thing there, just check her, rub her on the shoulder. You can, excuse me, you can either rub her on the shoulder to stop, if she knows that, or you could use your lead rope and just go, whoa, okay? So either she'll respond to either. I tend to rub shoulder because I've usually always got that contact on the shoulder anyway, and they know that as a friendly rub, and it just reinforces, yep, you've done the right thing, good horse. You know, if she starts walking forward a little bit too much on you like that, you might just need to step up a little bit closer to her head and get a little bit more bend in her nose so that she's actually stepping around like that. So that's your, the other thing you can do is check that lead rope a little bit. Just a little twig on that lead, just to go, no, not forward, you've got to go round. You're lazy. You're lazy. Alright, so same again on the hind end. And same again with the rub back here. So I always sensitise and then desensitise. So I'll put my fingers there, ask her to move, and then rub. Alright, so that's all pretty good. Should we go from this side? Good girl. Alright. Quickly pick up the feet from this side as well. Feet full of mud, so not much I can do about that right now, but and same with the hind leg. Righto, take the pressure off that leg like she did, pick it up, and clean it out, whatever you have to do, and put it down. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the groundwork. Now with lunging her, is a little bit different to before when I was desensitising her with the rope. So that's desensitising. And when I want her to move, I'm going to be very clear about my body language. So I'm going to step back a bit, sort of 45-degree angle to her shoulder. I'm going to raise my hand and point. I'm going to look at her with my eye, and I'm going to send her out on a circle. She won't want to walk over the thistle. And I just send her out there, and she knows she's got to walk. She should maintain that walk. And I maintain my eye contact with her that's driving her out. And when I want to trot, I just give a couple of clicks, and she should jog around there quite happily until told to do otherwise. So if she slows down, I let her slow down, and then when she stops like that, I'm just going to reinforce, no, I told you to trot, and you don't get to stop trotting until I say you can stop trotting. So let her make the mistake, and then correct it, and then see if you can get one circle without her actually slowing down to a walk, and then correct them, and then reward her and say, right. Okay, oh, righto. So she responds to war. When I want to change direction, same thing. Pick my hand up, be very definite. Look her in the eye, raise my body language up. As you can see, she's not really fond of going forward today. Righto, that's good. So if I want to increase pace again, I'm actually going to make a change direction, so I'll point. And I make her step out from me. So if she steps into me, I'll step in and actually drive her shoulder away and go, no, you're not allowed to step into me. I don't want her ducking in on the circle or cutting the circle. The circle should be round. So if she steps into me at any time, I'll pick that nose up and I'll drive that hip away, and I'll make her work the bottom properly, step through properly, and I'll make it hard work for her. And then I'll let her back out there. Whoops, fond of thistles. She's not fond of thistles. I'll let her back out there and let her fly around. So she's being a bit lazy and she's not really listening to you. It doesn't hurt to do that either. You know, pick them up and make her do a bit of harder work, because she will slop around out there if she thinks she can get away with it. The same as she will on her back in her groundwork. on a flat work, sorry, if you let her slop around, she will. If you sort of pick her nose up and go, no, come on, you got to, use your butt a bit. You got a big butt, you can use it. Well, she'll put a bit of effort into it, but she'll only put as much effort into it as you put into it. So right there, she sort of was a little bit naughty. So I'm just going to correct her, put her to work. I'm actually going to let her out on a bit more lunge. A bit more line there. I think you've done a hard day's work or something. Okay. Okay, whoa. And this time when she stops, and I'd get into a habit of doing this with her because she is a little bit lazy on her stops, is I'm actually going to back her up after she stops. So you only got to be 2 or 3 steps, but it just reinforces that stop, and it'll get to the point where she thinks she's going to have to stop and back up 2 steps, and she'll start preparing for that stop properly and getting her body in the right place, even on the lunge line, to stop. So this time she went off there a lot calmer and a lot more respectfully after that little correction just before. Still tipping her nose to the outside though, so I'm just going to drive that hind forward a little bit. I don't want her flopping around on the rope, with her head tipped out there somewhere and not taking any notice of me. So don't be scared to get in there and really chase that butt. She's not going to kick you. She is a bit of a lazy pants, so she protests, but she definitely won't kick you for, giving her a little bit of curry here and there and going, nah, come on, that's enough laziness. And I normally I'll make them do a little bit of hard work like that, and then I'll let them go back out there and relax again, and just bring them back to a slower jog, as a bit of a reward, I guess. So if you've done the right thing, you get to go out there and jog slowly around. If you're naughty, you'll come in and I'll make you do hard work. Ooh. Righto, I'm going to just back her up a couple steps. Righto, and change direction. Try pushing your luck. Work on that departure on that other side a couple more times, just because I'm not totally happy with the way she went into it, and I'm probably being picky, but there's never real big things with this mare, but she just sort of pokes at things a little bit and goes, oh, what if I try this, just see if I can get away with it today. And like I said, it's not really anything particularly bad, it's just her being particularly lazy and not wanting to maybe try that little bit extra hard. So I'll just ask her to stop there, and I'll ask her to change direction, and this time I want her to transition out of there. So I've just corrected her quite sharply then, and I'm glad I could show you that. So she's doing that bit of head shake at me and going, oh, I don't really want to go, and I'm going to go, well no, actually I've asked you to go, you need to go. There's no negotiations here. I tell you to do it, you do it. So don't be afraid to back up your command. If you tell her to get out there and trot, if she don't trot, well, you step in and drive that big butt of hers around there and make her do some work. So that shaking the head stuff, that's a little bit of a, I don't really want to do it today, I'm tired and I want my dinner. That's all well and good, but she hasn't got anything today at all apart from being bathed, so she hasn't got any excuse to be tired. So I'll just let her stop there for a second. And again, I'll back her up, particularly because she walked forward. Back her up a few steps. And then I'm going to send her the same way again, because I want to know that she's going to go without protesting when she's told. And I'm going to keep doing that repetitively until she is listening to me and going well. So. Righto, so that was better. Still wasn't perfect, but it was better. So sometimes you just got to step it up a little bit because she's just challenging your I just want it really clear to her that if I say go, you've got to go. And I don't want her charging off. I don't want her, you know, leaping out there. I want her to go quietly and responsibly and with a relaxed attitude. Preferably without too much attitude towards me about the idea. Righto. Go back her a couple of steps again, and I'm going to send her out again. Righto. Now I was really happy with that then. She went nicely out there. She's probably a little bit rushy, just a tad, but there was no attitude. She was thinking go, and she was thinking go, and she went where she was told. So I'm happy with that. So, you know, once I've got her doing it, you know, stop and give her a little rest and give her a little pat and tell her what a good horse she is, so that she understands that she got rewarded for doing the right thing. I can't really think of too much else to tell you, but I'm sure you'll have a few questions, so yeah, just feel free to jump on and get in touch. And her leg aids are much the same, so it's while to stop, obviously. I click to walk, 2 clicks to trot, kiss to canter, and just don't be scared to back it up with your reins and your legs. So backing up, I sit down in the saddle, I take my legs off, and I pick up on the reins, and I just hold, and she should back off that pressure. If she doesn't, I might go to just tapping her slightly with my heels, or just maybe a little bit of jiggling, which, you know, she's pretty sensitive to, so I'd be very surprised if you needed to get to that stage. I think you asked me a question about an English saddle. I don't think it would make a lot of difference, although she hasn't been ridden in one. But so when I say back up, it's just pick up that rein, add that clip, and then relax. So she should back up as long as that pressure's on her nose. And if she's not, you can just, you know, twiggle that rein a little bit, just so that there's a connection there. And it is just a little tiny increment, so it really is just that little tiny twiggle with your rein. You don't have to be jerking on her or pulling on her hard or anything. Just a little twiggle, just to go, hello, I've asked you something, and you need to get off that pressure. So that's the back up. Yeah, I think, you know, with regards to the English saddle, I don't anticipate any issues there. I think, you know, probably like everything else, just introduce it, give her a bit of a lunge with it, and I can't see it being an issue. There's not a real lot of difference between an English saddle and the normal stock saddles that Jeanette rides in. They're just a 1-point girth and very, very much the same. So you shouldn't have too many dramas there. Probably, what else was I thinking? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, I sit down and say wah to stop, and I sit down first, say wah, and then if they're not stopping, I'll pick them up a little bit, and if they're still not stopping, I'll same thing again. I'll just jiggle that a little bit and go, still a bit of a correction, you know, you might just go, hey, excuse me, I asked you to stop, stop. And as I told you, she's quite well trained to the one rein stop, both in a halter and in a bridle, so she'll give that nose around there from any gate. You can walk, trot, canter and one rein stop her. The one thing that I would probably do a fair bit with her on flat work myself is her transitions. She is getting a lot better, but her transitions are still a little bit rushed, and in the trot to the canter. And she's still not quite coming back from the canter to the trot just on seat. I found you've got to use your hands. The other thing that I would probably work on is her canter to the left. She tends to like to get down to this bottom corner of her circle and leak out of that circle a lot. So you've got to be mindful about keeping that shoulder straight and keeping a bit of outside leg on her there so that she maintains a round circle. So that's something that she does. And yeah, apart from that, you know, just working on her canter transitions being smooth and you know, coming back to a more collected canter. I've been working on that a little bit here lately, and she's come back really good. She's come back to a nice steady canter now. But what I've noticed is she'll tend to only sort of do one circle and then she breaks stride or something again. So she probably just needs to, you know, improve her fitness, because we were only doing quite small circles. So alright, well, I think that's about it. But yeah, feel free to give me a buzz, ask me any